absurd, crazy, unbelievable. Yes, Sir Hairless here. I have received a lot of requests for this one. It's Dimash with Opera 2. This song originally was by a Russian singer called Vitas. I've been told that Vitas has forbidden Dimash from performing this song after seeing this performance, so that's certainly quite intriguing. Vitas is very well known, perhaps not by name, but there have been many viral clips going around of him singing, especially in the super high soprano ranges. We know of all the males out there, Dimash is certainly capable of this. So that's probably why he chose this song. He's performing on the Chinese television show called Singer. We have done reactions to performances from this show previously. You can find all my prior Dimash reactions in my Dimash playlist card up here. I've been listening to the original song by Vitas all morning on Spotify. I came onto YouTube to find that video in case I want to talk about it like I often do, but the official video is not the same as the version I've been listening to on Spotify. The Spotify version is the same audio as this performance I found from 2009. So that's the one that I am familiar with going into this reaction. Finally, here are the lyrics on screen. Overall, there are certainly undertones of emotional turmoil and anguish in there. It's a great song, I think. So without further ado, let's get straight into it.
Строен, но я в нем один. Хлопнула дверь за спиной. Ветер осенний стучится в окно, плачет опять надо мной. Ночью гроза, а на утро туман. Солнце остыло совсем. Давние боли идут чередой, пусть собираются все.
There we go. Iconic, iconic. If you don't know this song by name, Opera 2, you've probably heard that at some point. Yeah, amazing. It's a great song. They are performing it at a slightly slower tempo. A bit slower. To me, it definitely makes a difference. I'm not quite sure in what way, but perhaps we can find out. So let's explore the music a bit more, what we've heard so far before continuing. If you don't want to hear my analysis, go to the timestamp. We get this introduction, which was not in the original version I have heard. Essentially just outlining the key, F minor with this falling interval. 5-1. The violin, a prominent instrument in this song, along with strings, and that just brings a folk element to the music. I think we can all agree that there are folk elements in this song. Just as I was showing you how the tempo was changed, the music was pizzicato strings, a lot of rhythmic urgency, rhythmic vitality. The ball, the rhythmic ball, so to speak, is moving. This introduction is the opposite of that. It's slow, sustained violin. Like I said in the introduction, the lyrics have undertones of anguish. And what better instrument to use when trying to display this emotional sense of sadness, of turmoil? Well, a violin. We all know about the sad little violin. Just there, the chord is repeated, but there's also the supertonic, note number 2, So F is note number 1, so the next note up. But also note number 5 is now pushed up to here, which we get in the violin melody. Dissonance immediately introduced, and dissonance, I feel, is another great way of just having some sadness in the music, which surprised me because... oh, now we've moved to the major. The bass part right at the bottom, still playing that F, our home key, over and over. The castanets, now it's all fun, it's playful despite the sad lyrics. Dimash, as always, great stage presence, really leaning into the performance. Dimash's entry, the melody, quite interesting. So we move up to our tonic here, and then away again. So we know there's going to be jumping around. Again, it's that playfulness. The voice that he's choosing to use here, well, naturally more of a chesty sound on the lower notes. And then kind of halfway between that airy voice that I so love and regular full voice. There, the intense vibrato starts to come through, a bit more power. What do we get in the piano accompaniment at the same time? The exaggerated clash, which is outlining this chromatic movement. So the harmony is getting a little bit interesting, but overall it's quite simple, just the repeated chords. Why? Well, because of the huge climax moment that comes later on. Mostly the same, but now the slow violin also coming in. Nothing too drastic. We're familiar with it already because we heard it at the introduction. The airy voice. Now more powerful voice. Now less powerful. So Dimash, as he always does, is making sure things are not boring. He's keeping them interesting, even though his melody is quite limited. From the clips of the people we saw in the audience, I don't know if they are judges or other contestants, we also saw Dimash's father. I'm sure most of them know the song, the very famous chorus bit that we're approaching. So everything that comes before all of this, it's almost a bit like a waiting game. So Dimash is making sure to keep things as interesting as possible. So he's going full out. He is using vibrato up there in that male soprano range. The highest note that we get is a C up the octave. That's typically the highest note your soprano would be expected to sing. All the more impressive coming from a male. We have heard Dimash go much higher before, and again, it has this chromatic inflection on that melody. And then when the melody then moves down, the fact that it has gone from to then shows this chromatic inflection is not intrinsically part of the harmony. If we compare it to Vitas' sound, in my opinion, Dimash's sound is more direct. He chooses to implement vibrato, those voice wobbles, immediately rather than having a straight tone and then the vibrato coming in, which is quite a common thing to see with sustained notes, the idea of growing into the sound and then the vibrato coming at the end. Up there, obviously much more difficult to do than singing in your regular range. And I think I do prefer Dimash's timbre here, the actual sound. Of course, that's just personal opinion. We're all aware it's very high, but I just want to kind of stress just how high it is. The start of this glissando, this slide up, that first note there, that in itself is a G. Your typical chorister is only expected to go up to the note above that, the A. The fact that the slide starts at the top of a chorister's range essentially, and then just goes up to the soprano's range. For a man singing that, I can only imagine at the time when Vitas released this, how just mind-boggling it was. And before we carry on, I just want to give an appreciation towards the musicians accompanying and this arrangement. I really like it. The music in the background underneath this popular part of the performance, we have the chromatic descending bass line. So against Dimash's C up there and the first note in the bass down here, I'll move them into the same octave so we can see. We get, and then that's when the melody then moves down. The sustained melody versus the descending chromatic bass line just works really well. And also in the piano, we get these really nice arpeggiated figures repeated. Between those three parts, we get everything. The melody, no movement, one note. The bass line, slower movement, several notes, all changing. And then that piano part, a lot of note changes, really rhythmic, but the notes themselves don't really move that much. And of course, we had this instrumental interlude. The harmony here slightly peculiar, not really what we're expecting, I suppose, and again, just elements of folk music. Perhaps more in line with musical culture from the Orient. And as this was performed in China, I can see why. The rhythms as well, they're very accented. Chum, 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 chum. Disjointed, irregular, not what we have been hearing in the verses of the song. The bass is on the strong beats, bum, 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 and then the right hand in between. So this instrumental section in between verses just really serves a purpose to change up the music melodically, harmonically, and rhythmically as well. Okay, let's carry on with the song.
Стучится в окно, плачет опять надо мной. Это судьба, а судьбу не могу я ни о чем простить. Только я знаю, как после меня станут ветра глазить.
Oh, the faces of people in the audience. To each and every one of them, I feel you. I feel you. Just a few things, mostly the music is the same, but from where we carried on, the percussion, the beat. Now just making it seem a tiny bit more structured, regimented, however you want to think of it, however it makes you feel. It will be different for all of us. And as we so often see in Dimash's performances, more growth. We have a repeated phrase. How is he singing it differently? Well, this time he rises up in his chest voice. Power, when we heard that previously. Rising up, changing from chest to head voice, so much air in the sound, a weaker, softer sound. So he does that. And then the power. As his melody goes down, so does the power. And then when he goes down to sing kak at the bottom, there's no notes. It's so quiet that it's literally a whisper without an audible pitch. It's this level of attention to detail, how he goes from one extreme to the other so quickly, but it seems so natural. That is just really what makes him such a great performer. Then, of course, we get the famous bit. The harmony underneath is more interesting this time. That piano arpeggiated figure I was talking about now immediately moves to cause dissonance. It's not messing around. already we're hearing coming through. Whereas previously in the chromatic bass line, we went. It took a bit of time to arrive there. Now we immediately get it. Listen out for that note. In the piano, almost as soon as Dimash touches that top C. There. So this note now in the harmony doesn't move, and it has a new role of providing dissonance, adding some funkiness to the harmony. Perhaps you can think of it like modernizing it a little bit. The violins moving up, the beat stronger. It's just a bigger sound. And then we get this. And that's a key change there. In the original song, we do also get a key change. So he starts off, but then later on, that key change was very sudden. Let's see what this one is like, and we'll finish off until the end. There's just over a minute left. This is Sir Hairless from the future. I'm just editing. I completely forgot to mention something that I wanted to. In Dimash's performance, we have these instrumental interludes. In Vitas's, we do get them in some manner, but one thing that I really liked was these backing vocals sung by women. If we have a quick listen. With the accordion, and they just really reminded me of a song that won Eurovision. You may or may not know it. Alexander Rybak, the song Fairy Tale, but many similar musical elements to this song. The strings, the rhythms they're playing, and of course the backing vocals.
Every day we started fighting. Every night
As Dimash's performance didn't have any backing vocals, I completely forgot to mention this, but I like this song, I like Opera 2, many musical elements that are stylistically similar between the two. Oh, I just want to apologize firstly for how horrendous my face must have looked in that. Editing this will be a pain. It will be a struggle for me. Yeah, I now know why Vitas has forbidden Dimash from performing this. You create this unbelievable song that makes you famous and supposedly no one else can do it, and then some young chap called Dimash turns up and takes it one step further. He doesn't just go higher. Where I'm from, we have a phrase for this. A rude phrase and a non-rude phrase. I'll use the non-rude phrase. He's taking the mickey at this point. He's having fun with it. He's just, yeah, he's just being Dimash. I love it. I love it. So how high does he go? We were here originally. Now we've gone here after the key change. And then this is my favorite part. This cheeky face just going, do you want me to go higher? Do you want me to go higher? Fine, fine, I will. All of the reactions of people are so funny. Yeah, I think this is worthy of some thumbs up. These guys are funny as well. When we saw them previously, I mean, look at their faces now, just And when we saw them previously, just disbelief, shock, and I don't even know what you'd call this face. Comment down below the word you would use to describe this face. Anyway, and then at the end, that's up to here, which is a D sharp or an E flat, just 2 notes below the F, which is the highest note in the famous Queen of the Night aria. No more words needed. Opera 2, Dimash, absurd, crazy, unbelievable. I really like the song. Credit to Vitas where credit is due. I'm not so keen on the fact that he has forbidden Dimash to perform this ever again. I would like to see Dimash do this live one day. Maybe if everyone donated me 1,000 hot chocolates at the Buy Me a Coffee link below, I could hire Dimash for a private performance, invite everyone, and we could see it. Oh, how we can dream, hey? Okay, let's leave that one there. Thank you to everyone who recommended this one. Super fun. Crazy, just crazy stuff. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, I would appreciate a like and subscribe. Feel free to share it. And if you'd like to support me, get access to exclusive content not available on YouTube, you can do so by joining the Patreon linked on the screen now, and I will see you next time.